morning. Hope you're doing well on this day before the 4th of July. I have been through a range of emotions, and I want to really share what this has been about because I think it would be so valuable to you if you are embarking on something. I have been on such a high creatively, as you may have seen from yesterday's video, and when I get in that place, I just get in this full expanse of love and joy and creativity and connection and expansion and all of those kinds of things. And I was very much in that place, and then had to have some conversations about the Rebel Road and get an update on where things stood and what different connections were going on and what was taking place. And you know, that linear conversation had to step back in of, okay, are we set for the first show? Are we set for the Raleigh show? Are we set for the first month? Is anything, you know, arising? What's going on and what are we creating? And some is set and some is not. And you know, Raleigh doesn't have a venue and the connections and things. And I'm in this place of all of a sudden feeling very much alone and very much like I'm on my own doing this by myself. And I share that with you because when we're embarking on something, there's two parts of us. There's the part of us that is the higher part, the dreaming part, the part that knows anything is possible, that is willing to step out on a limb and leap and trust and be in that place. And then there's this other side of us that is going to creep up from time to time, that is going to be the part of us that is all of our old patterns or the doubts or the things that we want to believe are true that are such an illusion. And I've spent so much of my life doing everything on my own and really creating things but in isolation and not having a team and not having support, that I don't want this experience to be the same thing. I desire this now to be a different experience of real connection and bringing people together and celebrating all of what is there, all of the people, all of what's going on, and just allowing this to be something that unfolds in a creative manner as I know reality to be. But that part of me that is so used to being on my own and doing it alone and having to wanting desperately to depend on people and then them not showing up crept up, because what started to surround me were some situations like that where, you know, there were people that seemed to be around me, but I wasn't sure if I was getting the full support. I knew I was getting their love and I knew I was getting, you know, their cheering and I was getting that kind of thing. But when it came down to the crux of the so-called work of it, I wasn't seeing any support. And in manifestation, there are several parts. There is the part where we dream it, where we envision it, where we have the bubble of possibility, where we allow that to unfold. But I have realized in the course of my 8 years of creating the magazine and everything else, that took a certain level of my own action. And it's not that that's work and tedious and hard, because that's not what it's meant to be. It's meant to be the experience of you diving into seeing what is possible from within you as creation, and that's how I've approached everything. And so I understand that that so-called work is that part of us being willing to dive in and experience creation in the activity, in the doing, in the reaching out, in the creating. And so I wasn't feeling surrounded and supported in that way. And I started to have some angst, and I started to have some upset around that. And what I needed to do was really voice that a little bit, really feel it, allow myself to understand that the two sides do have to exist, and we have to embrace that. Not that we have to buy into it, not that we have to feed it or go into those emotions in a way that is reactive, but that we do have to give presence to it, that we have to give love to it, that we have to say, oh, yes, I see you. I see this part of you that has always thought things had to be this way. But let me show you that that's not the case. Let's step back into that feeling that we were in just a few moments ago and see if we can find that place again and allow it to temper whatever it is that you're feeling in this moment. And so that's what I ended up doing, is really going back into my place of creativity, back into my place of love, back into my place of, you know, what's the real truth going on here, and anything is possible. So now can I step back into that? And as I did so, it doesn't mean that that other part of me is not there, not still kind of in the corner cowering, because that's that little child within us that has got the belief that we have to save ourselves. And it's good to acknowledge that part that's there. That is part of you. That is part of your whole. And there's nothing wrong about it. There's nothing wounded or weak about it. It is just another part of the beauty that is the human experience. And so embrace it and allow it to be there in the midst of all of the amazing creation and beauty that has to happen. I hope that's been helpful for you if you're in your creative process and you keep bumping up against yourself and you're not quite sure what to do with it, or if you experience the highs and lows of creation, because that often happens. This perhaps will help you to understand how to not have it be such a peak and valley, high and low, but something that is a continuous wave that you just move with and allow and continue forward regardless of what is showing up. So I invite you to therebelroad.com to see what's going on. I invite you to be a part of this with me by getting in touch with me, letting me know where you are in the area, letting me know how you'd like to be a part of it, and if you would like to support in some way of helping us find venues or a place to stay, or if you want to do something that's just out of the blue, different, that I haven't thought of. I'm open for whatever this adventure could be, and I'd love to have people experience this alongside of me so that we all create something together in the oneness that we are. In love, of love, and with love. I'm Simran Singh, and I'll talk to you tomorrow and update you on what's going on next. Oh, by the way, I do have to tell you, I've had Raleigh in my mind for a few days because I knew that was the first event, and things